I'm really glad that I got in the habit in this game of recording before we get to even the menu, just in case the game talks to us again. There's an epilogue? We have an epilogue? But I didn't do every ending yet, so I think, I might have to confer to see if we should do this, because I think this might be, like, epilogue is ending, right? It's the after part of an ending. We have unlocked an epilogue of some kind. Oh my freaking god. It must have been the collectibles. That's the last thing we did, was to collect the collectibles. We're going to begin the game, because here's what I'm going to do is, an epilogue clearly is like the last stages of any story. It's the after, it's like the, where everything kind of like is put a bow, a bow is put on everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep going with some endings, or if people say like, oh, you can totally do the epilogue now. I think it is the collectibles ending. Because I remember somebody saying that, like, maybe it might be better to get the collectibles ending, like, they said this like a week ago, it might be better to get the collectibles ending, like, afterwards, but I already gotten it. They didn't tell me why, but maybe this is why. So maybe we can do the epilogue after we get some other endings and stuff like that. Right? By the way, my name is Calvin, also known as Robert. This is my first ever playthrough of the Stanley Parable 2. Should we go for it? Just begin the game. Are we going to be in the same type of place we were in last time? Or we're here again. Okay, so first thing I want to do is I want to go to the area with the vent without the bucket, but I'm so excited for the idea of an epilogue, because that means there's going to be some sort of bow on the story, whether it be confusing or not, there's going to be something there as well. That's awesome.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
I know exactly where I'm going to as well.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
Sorry, Bucket.
Perhaps
I'll be back soon.
Missed a memo.
I loved it, like, in a very meta way, and I have no problem with people pointing it out. Like, people were saying how, like, I mean, they were saying it jokingly, but it's also funny to point out that, like, when I lost the bucket the first time, I nearly had a heart attack that I was not going to be able to, like, use the bucket for other levels. There was also a situation where, like, I genuinely, like, have been excited about using the bucket and have been keeping the bucket very close to me as well. And there's been moments where, like, I've desperately wanted the bucket to be with me so we can, like, get different endings. And people were pointing out how, like, it's so interesting how the player, and even me myself, does become kind of like dependent on the bucket for at least the endings. And like, that is another meta way of looking at the game, that like we as players
when Stanley came to
need the bucket in a way.
This was not the correct way to the
which I think is another interesting way of looking at
Stanley
it.
knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire
I don't remember all the endings we have or we can get.
Truly a room worth admiring, but eager to
but I'll try and think of which other endings we can get that we can maybe try with the bucket. So okay, plugging out the thing is one of them, right?
It's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Plugging out the phone is one of them. What else can we do? So plugging out the phone. Maybe, the broom closet. We could try the broom closet stuff. But that's not an ending, though. That's just like a fun thing to do. The broom closet. Closing the door. But then we won't have the bucket. We can't, we wanted the bucket, so we can't do the close the door ending on ourselves. We already did the escape pod ending. Going up and down the elevator, we could try. We could try that too. Yeah, we could definitely try it. We'll see where it goes. Again, we don't have to, like, go too crazy with stuff. Do not lie. If you are lying right now, stop it. Never. So can we actually go get this now here? Yes. So yeah, people are saying, why don't you try going here about the book? And that's one of the things why I kind of like having like this game be like very community based for me as well. Is that while no one has spoiled anything for me in terms of the story, it's also good to have, like, because I would not have come back here. I wouldn't even thought of it. But now we are coming back here. I'm very interested to see what's going to happen. Because we found the tape recorder last time.
Stanley had now gotten himself so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun so far off the beaten path.
Oh my god.
That it seemed the office had begun so far off the beaten path. That it seemed the office had begun so far off the beaten path. That it seemed the office had begun.
It's such a scary location to me.
That it seemed the office had begun.
Stop repeating, please. Like, look at this.
The office had begun so far off the beaten path. That it seemed the office had begun so far off the beaten path.
That is mind-numbing, isn't it? All these tapes as well.
That it seemed the office had begun so far off the beaten path.
Wait.
That it seemed the office had begun.
Narrator sound system?
That it seemed.
Last time it was a...
You didn't think I was actually just a recording,
Oh my god,
did
for a
you?
second.
What a silly and trite explanation that would be. All the back and forth between you and me,
Stop.
all the absurd adventures we've been through, and it all turns out I'm just a tape recording? It was all just in Stanley's head.
I know he's making fun of this too.
I bet that's the kind of twist you think is revelatory. I bet each and every time you watch a movie where it turns out all to be in the main character's imagination, you must absolutely bolt off the couch in pure shock at the phenomenal and intricate storytelling. It must be so simple to be you. Life being an unending waterfall of surprises and delights. How much more exciting you must find the world than the rest of us do.
He's...
Now I've become sad.
He's disappointed in Stanley. He's really disappointed in that idea. He's like, yo, you think this is an interesting ending? You think this is great again? Because I think that was like one of the things that like you can do an effective ending of it was all a dream. You can do an effective ending of all the stuff was in your head, but it has to like make sense, right? There's plenty of stories I can think of where it's like this person wasn't actually there, or this person wasn't real, or this adventure wasn't real, and it works so well. But it did become a trope that people said you should avoid in storytelling for a while, which is the idea of like, oh, it was all a dream or everything was all in your head, because a lot of people in this, the way the narrator said it, a lot of people feel like it takes away like the journey that your character's been on with some characters. It takes away the story you've been on with some of your characters. I think if it's done well, it can be really good. But I also do think as a trope, it's something that like I understand why people tell you to avoid it when you're writing stories, because like it makes like the journey people have been on feel less impactful sometimes. And in this case, the narrator is just disappointed that we would find this interesting, that we would like look at this tape recorder and go, oh. And here's the thing, right? By the way, my thought process when I found the tape recorder wasn't like, oh, is he like a recording? My thought process was more like there, maybe it's like a choose your own adventure type thing where like someone else was like putting in the narrator tapes. So in a way it was like a recording for a second. It was only a split second, like, is it? Type of thing, but that's what crossed my mind.
You've done to me. This is all your fault.
I'm sorry. Wait. That is if that's just the ending right there, that's such a quick and subtle ending. That is such a fun and quick and subtle ending. Because again, it was just him being absolutely disappointed in the fact that we would think this ending is good. Again, it's another commentary on the idea of endings. He's like, my endings will be way better than this. Are you kidding me?
All of his co-workers were gone.
So,
what could it
some
mean?
people are saying look at the computer
Stanley
screens.
decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked,
like this?
He couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Do I have to turn off the screens? Is that it? Let's see. Let's see now. I'm not sure, because like this, we can interact with the screens anyway. Awaiting input. Input received. Okay. Do we have to like turn off all the computers then press the input button? Is that what it is? Was there more computers on this way? I don't think so. So maybe we messed it up a little bit. Is there other computers we can like press the buttons on as well? Let's go back and check. Maybe there's a specific order to the computers as well? Unless there's other computers we can press down the line too. I'm trying to think if there are. Because this says awaiting input. Input received. Should we try? Wait, let me see again. Let me see what we can do here. So let's read what they say on the screen as well.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
So that's
no
the one
matter
there.
how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Oh, there's a waiting input over here. Now it's over here. Wait. Does it change each time? Let's turn off this one as well. Maybe it changes each time every time we reset the game. Let's see. Maybe we have to do it 4 times. Or 5 times. Okay, let's try it again. That's what it must be then. Will he get upset at us like we're continually resetting the game?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
I don't know if you
Stanley
have to do
decided
this,
go
by the way.
meeting room.
If you have to
Perhaps
press
he had
this
simply
over
missed a
these over and
memo.
over again, but I'm going to do it anyway. Obviously, this is something you probably would have done naturally over time and kind of figured that idea out. Where's the other waiting input? Where's the waiting input screen this time? Is it over back here?
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
What if the waiting input screen was on my screen that time? It could have been. Let's try again. Again, I'm not sure if this is even going to work. I'm not sure if, like exactly what to do here, but I'll keep. Oh, no, it's not on my screen.
Just a step through this door, Stanley thought to himself. That's all I need. If I can make it through this door, I can make it through them all.
The dialogue is that because we reset so much that he changed his dialogue? Maybe there's more computers down the line that have this. It might be another computer down here somewhere, but I don't know where we'd even get the computers from down here then. Yeah, I'm not sure how this one works, which is okay. We can try it next time as well. And it's not back here at all.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Unless there's one in here that says awaiting input and we can like go through a door or something. Maybe. .425. Like, how do we get around to there again? There are other computers in here. But it's a matter of actually getting to them, I guess. Let's see if I can like maybe see a comment that like said something there as well.
How long was I sitting there?
Oh my god,
Stanley
they change the
wondered to
dialogue
himself.
around all the time.
Minutes? Days? Centuries? Did something crucial happen while my senses were turned? He made a note to be more careful with time.
That's so interesting. I didn't know they would change this around as well. I don't know if there is like a computer that says awaiting input, or if there's one, or if we have to click them in a different order as well. Yeah, I'm generally not too sure. My guess is that it's a computer somewhere else in the office, so we might as well go around and do other endings and see if we can see those computers as we're doing that. If not, like maybe I'll try to find particular computers. I think that's probably the way it's going to happen. Because I don't think they just all of a sudden hide all the computers as well. So we have to fill up a progress bar.
Stanley wanted to be a better man and a better co-worker. In time, perhaps, he would become both.
Again, the dialogue changing over time is so interesting too. Okay, let's go plug out the phone and see what happens there.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place
What's
to
a poppin'
be.
place to be?
And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct?
Once again, I'll lower the volume here as I'm talking about this stuff as well, but I do think it's like so interesting that like oh, we can do this one as well. We can definitely do this one as well. I do think it's so interesting as well that like the last run we had was just like another commentary on the idea of like how, you know, a story can be told and how we perceive a story, how good a story can be.
Go somewhere else. The cargo lift.
Wait,
yes.
what if we
go there?
Before we
Go
do the
to
phone one, what if we
cargo
do
lift.
this?
Oh, well, look who's got cold
Yeah?
feet. Well, from here, it looks like the
Oh,
only way
'cause
forward
it's
is
the jump
down,
again?
since the lift won't be coming back, but that's okay. You've got a bucket.
How's that gonna work?
Did you know that buckets are routinely used as
I don't
cushioning
think so.
devices? It's true. You can fall on a bucket from literally any height and survive.
Oh god. I was gonna say that I think the last run was like again another commentary on the idea of a story and how a story can be told and how good a story can be. I think the narrator puts so much emphasis on that. I think the narrator puts so much emphasis on the idea of a story, and now we're being told that a
I'm
bucket
serious,
is a
Stanley.
cushion.
Jump with the bucket. I promise you'll live. I extra double
Extra
promise
double?
that you can land on the bucket and not die.
Extra double. You mean extra double? Let's see if he says anything else now. Extra double jump here. Do you think we could? I was trying to land over there, but let's try.
Whoops. Looks
Oh
like
my
I was
god.
wrong. How clumsy of me.
You know what's interesting about that ending there? There wasn't a drastic change. Oh, we're here now. And now we're here.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
But there's no computers even here.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
We ended up here before as well, by the way. I think it's going to lead us to the doors again, but I definitely want to plug out the thing. Yeah, but once again, I feel like that's another thing. It's
Stanley
like,
went around touching every little
stop.
thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
I love that there's so much like little dialogue here for like different conversations. But yeah, like the idea that ending there we just got was like not that much different from the ending we got before. But in this case, it's like, no, the bucket may have like this emotional power over us, but like it's not physically protecting you. You know what I mean? It's not this amulet that's going to be protecting you forever. It's not this like sacred ring that will ward off evil spirits. And even in that moment there, like the narrator like is like, oh, my bad. You know, it still felt like an ending that like, it was so similar to the first one. The only difference was this time, like, we were encouraged because we had the bucket. You know, oh, we have the bucket. Maybe things will be different. I think it's also, again, another meta way of doing a gameplay where it's like, you thought, like, in the player's mind, there was a little bit in my mind that said to myself, is this going to be different with the bucket? You know what I mean? Am I going to have a different experience now that I have the bucket? I actually thought that for a second. I was like, oh, will it be? And I thought even when I landed in the boxes there and I landed, I thought there was going to be like, it was a split second where I thought something is going to change. And I think it's even better as like a commentary on like our thought process on like the changing of endings and how endings will change and how our choices will change things. When in the end, holding the bucket actually did nothing for us there. It actually didn't change a thing. Very, 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 very interesting way of doing it.
Everyone is so lucky to have a bucket, but Stanley is a very lucky fellow.
Yeah.
Very lucky indeed.
And he said this after we just like plummeted to our death.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his. This was not the correct.
Let's go plug out that
meeting
phone.
room. But Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Never mind.
So far
wrong.
we've had the story of the narrator being very upset with us over our taste in endings and what we would think would be a good ending, even though we didn't say that directly, but he felt that with it. Like he felt insulted by Stanley that he would think that the narrator would come up with an ending like this, or that he would just be recording. I think there's also an element of pain to that too for the narrator, would you think as well? Where the narrator's kind of feeling as well like, you think I'm a recording? So it's not really just like, oh, this is a bad ending. I think he's probably genuinely like, dude, like, all the stuff we've been to get through together, and you think that I'm a recording, you know? Because I think this generally does mean something to the narrator. Like, being around Stanley completes him. And I think Stanley is completed by the narrator too, but I think with the narrator who genuinely loves like having Stanley as like as a play friend.
Good, said the bucket. Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to
Okay.
do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
The bucket's fairly helpful, right? I also have seen your comments about the idea of playing Beginner's Guide as well. I definitely will put that in the list of games that I want to play as well. I kind of like was thinking about playing Dispatch very soon as well. But Beginner's Guide is definitely on that list.
Go into this dark room over here.
So do not worry.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
Again, if you check the description, there's a list of all the games I want to play. Beginner's Guide will be on there as you're watching this, 100%. And if it's not, remind me.
Now pick up the phone.
Whoa, hold on. Why did you unplug
I wonder if this
the
ending is going to be
phone?
in any way similar.
Were you trying to resist the bucket's orders? Stanley, I was joking. Obviously, the bucket isn't
Yeah, the
talking
narrator's
to you
pretending to be
and
the
telling
bucket
you
here?
to do things. Buckets can't talk. It was a joke. Don't you get the
Oh my
joke? It's
God.
funny, Stanley. A talking
And he's offended that we didn't get the joke as well.
Can't you see? Oh, goodness. I must have really bungled up the delivery if you actually took me seriously. Where did I mess up the joke? Should I have paused for longer or spoken quicker? Comedic timing is so difficult.
It can
I
be.
wish I
It
were
definitely can
better
be.
at it. But there isn't exactly an instructional
No.
video on comedy that one can watch.
Are you going to have one?
Oh, wait, yes, there
Oh my
is.
God.
It's sitting right here. Let's
Are we
take a
actually going to
look.
watch one? We are going to watch one, aren't we? We are.
What is comedic timing?
Stop.
What is comedic timing? How does it work? How long should it last? How can it be used to effectively silence your political enemies? And more importantly, can it be taught in its entirety within 90 seconds?
Let's see.
Thankfully, the answer to all of these questions is
These are all so creative as well, though,
Let's
aren't they?
dive
Like the
deeper.
last one we saw was so creative too.
if you've ever told a joke or made someone laugh, in all likelihood, you did it while standing 50 to 80 centimeters from them in a room of no more than 76 degrees Fahrenheit.
Interesting.
With one of your arms raised straight upward at a 15-degree angle
Really?
from your body. These are the optimal conditions for good comedic timing. To begin the joke, start by stating and spelling your name. Next, provide a brief synopsis of the joke, including the specific times at which the recipient of the joke will laugh, and then spell out your name a second time.
You're telling them when they have to laugh?
With these steps complete, it's time to begin
Unironically,
the humor.
I would laugh if someone did this to me.
Speak the entire joke in no more than 18 seconds and no less than 13 and a half.
So it has to be a specific
pausing
time.
only for bathroom breaks when necessary.
Stop.
When the joke has concluded, it is customary to inform your listener that the joke is over by
so
declaring
uniform.
in your loudest possible voice, "I'm Dunny with the funny." Let's practice screaming, "I'm Dunny with the funny" now.
I'm Dunny with the funny.
Good. This saying is a perfect example of expectations management, which is the cornerstone of good comedy. Finally, it's time to hand out surveys. Collecting hard data from your audience on how rapt they were throughout the joke is the only way to grow or learn as a comedian. An effective survey should be no less than 10 pages long and should include the same question reprinted several times, just to ensure the survey taker is actually paying attention and not simply filling in answers at random. And that's all there is.
No, like,
with these strategies at your disposal, you'll have audiences
like, I know it's like a joke, but this is beyond funny.
laughter in no time at all.
That would be hilarious.
Just remember to let them stop laughing at some point, you gut-busting little scamp. After all, we're each of us needed on the front lines of the war to fight the 12-legged invader who threatened our very existence.
Look at the one leg.
And to very likely die in a hailstorm of bullets and mandibles. All of us must be prepared to give our lives to this noble
hand in the air
cause,
again.
just as our children must do after us.
No.
And their children after them. Godspeed, and may Earth reign supreme.
The freaking... Wait, was it Gamorot? Is Gamorot one of those creatures?
Hey, goodness, this video is a little outdated.
Can I say this right now? The reason why it was so funny to me is because I was imagining someone actually doing this to me in an office, this type of joke. It would be unironically, you would be the funniest person in the office to me if you came up to me and said, "Okay, I'm about to tell you a joke," with their hand raised, and then explained the joke, told me when I was supposed to laugh, took a bathroom break, and then came back, and then said, and if they said I'm Dunny with the funny, I'd be in stitches. I'd be like, you are equally the craziest and funniest person I've ever met in my freaking life. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care if someone else comes along and goes, "That guy's weird." It's like, yeah, he's weird, but it's hilarious. He's so funny. And then if he handed me a survey about the joke as well, I'm thinking like, yeah, it's kind of annoying I have to fill out a survey, but still, this is hilarious. I know like it's trying to pass it off as like maybe like this wouldn't be funny, like over-explaining the joke and like telling someone when the joke is starting and ending and like having specific timing for a joke. Because again, it's like comedy's is in like whatever you think is funny or not, you know? But like for me personally, like if someone did this, and it's especially the Dunny with the funny, especially that. If someone said that, you're literally my best friend forever.
Well, no matter. I think the fundamentals of proper comedic timing are still as relevant today as they were.
You think so? You're going to say Dunny with the funny?
So with that in mind, I believe the only way forward is for us to return to the two doors and walk through all of this again, so I can try telling my story with more appropriate comedic delivery. Come along, let's head back.
Okay. I thought they were going to reset, but I'm actually kind of glad they didn't. So we're going to go all the way back, but he's going to tell some jokes as well. No, this is this is the funniest thing they've done. This is the funniest. It's, ironically, them trying to over-explain a joke or saying that over-explaining a joke works is hilarious. Any jokes? Oh, look, the cage as well as around this thing again.
I can feel it. This time, I'm really going to nail the delivery.
I believe in you.
You'll be in stitches. A talking bucket, you'll say? How ridiculous. How absurd.
This all started because he was a little bit upset. Like, because again, remember we didn't laugh at the joke. We didn't get it was a joke and like all this stuff as well. It all kind of started because he was like, "Oh man, like you didn't get, how could you not get the joke? Oh, I guess like I need to get better at comedic timing." You know, like it's like almost like an embarrassment over you not getting the joke. It wasn't even like he was angry. He was like he was embarrassed that like he didn't have good comedic timing.
Hilarious concept. The king of comedy. That's
I can
what
call
you'll
you that already.
call me.
That was
Thank
hilarious, that
goodness we
video.
had the instructional video. Otherwise, who knows where we'd
Agreed.
be right now. Well, I wouldn't be the king of comedy, that's
It
for
changed
sure.
my life.
The bucket spoke to Stanley.
The bucket spoke.
The bucket.
He's practicing
spunk.
voices.
Oh, I'll figure it out on the fly. No need to overthink things.
And I think that's like one of the biggest, you know, it is like again, overthinking the idea of like, obviously a well thought out joke is funny, right? And stand-up comedians do well think out the jokes really well. But in the passing a moment with like a friend or whatever, like if that's when it's not funny, you know, when it's funny because the narrator is practicing all the voices. But if your friends start going like, okay, oh, can I tell you a joke? It's like, yeah, sure. It's like, okay, I have to like do a voice when I have to practice the voice. Which would be funnier to you, you know? This voice, oh, this voice. Actually, now that I'm saying it, if someone did that to me, I actually would laugh as well. Maybe it's just because my type of humor is like I don't know. I think there is comedy in a lack of comedy. You know what I mean? There is comedy in the idea of like someone not entirely understanding how to tell a joke, and that makes the joke funnier. And it's not like a mean way of like, oh, this person's not able to tell a joke, but because again, if someone like tried to over-explain a joke and started practicing voices in front of me as well, actually, it would be kind of charming. I would be like, I like, I don't know if I'd laugh my head off, but I would be charmed. You know, I would be like, oh my god, they're putting an effort for this. You know. That's the way I look at it anyway. Back into here in this room. So we have to go back. He wants us to go back to the two doors. Oh, I should have been checking some computers, but I don't think there was any computer there, was there? I don't think so. Okay.
Here we go. You ready?
I'm ready.
When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of two open doors, they entered the door on the left.
Okay.
No. You
Oh,
were
sorry.
supposed to go through
Sorry,
the door
no,
on the
no.
right,
Oh,
leading
I'm so
back to
sorry.
the
I
phone.
wanted to go along with
Did
your
you
joke.
not even look at the instructional
Yeah,
video?
no, I'll
I
go
think
back.
this was all covered
Yeah, I'll
very
go back.
clearly. There's no way I can make the comedic
No,
timing
no.
work now. It's done.
No.
The joke is completely done
No,
and
I'm
over.
sorry.
It's all your fault,
No, it's okay. We'll
Stanley.
try it again.
I'm going to be ridiculed in the community of other
No, they
joke
won't.
writers. I'm going to be shamed at every one of our meetings
You were in a community
from
of
now
joke
on.
writers?
All because you couldn't watch a simple video and take
But I
a
thought you
hint.
wanted me to
Are
do
you
what you
proud of
say as
yourself
well.
for bringing me down, Stanley? Are you proud? Here we go.
Okay.
You ready? When
Sorry
Stanley
about that,
and
narrator.
the bucket came to a set of two open doors, they entered the door on the
I
left.
thought like he wanted me actually to enter the door on the left, but no, he wants me to go along what we did before to go all the way back. Sorry about that, narrator. I ruined his joke. Oh. There's like a blank space here. And no one's writing my name here.
What? We're back at the phone already? No. What's going on? There was supposed to be several rooms leading
Yeah,
up
something's
to
going on
this.
here.
There was supposed to be a build-up to this point, a dramatic display of remarkable comedic wit which culminates in this scene with the phone. But now the timing's completely off. The joke will never land. Well, not the way it was
I
meant
can do it.
to.
I can do what you
And
need
it's
to.
all my fault. I must have forgotten that the phone room comes immediately after
It
the
doesn't,
two
though.
doors room. What an egregious mistake. I've made a fool of myself. I don't deserve the title of
It
King
doesn't.
of Comedy.
Oh
I'm
no,
nothing.
narrator. No, it's okay.
I'm not even the lowliest joke-telling whelp. I think I need to go back and rewatch that instructional
Just say Donny with the funny, and
video again.
I'll burst into laughter.
Yes, surely that will help me improve my...
Oh, we're back here again.
You love the bucket so much, it's like you... it's as though all of your other most prized possessions pale
Oh
in
no, he's telling
comparison.
like puns.
Yes. Well, let me try that again, Stanley. I heard that you are pale with shame over how unabashedly in love with a bucket you are.
Oh.
No? Still not... Is it the delivery? Pale with shame. Pale with shame.
Stop.
Pale... What's another word to describe a bucket? Stanley, this bucket is so metal. I think I saw it
Oh
playing
no, that
guitar.
one's not even. No, it's great. It's a great joke. It's a great
Away from
joke.
making fun of Stanley's obsession with the bucket, which was the whole point of this. I'm no.
No, don't
good
think of it like that.
jokes. I need more instructional videos. That's
You're
exactly
overthinking
what-
comedy.
That's what will make me the king of comedy again. More instructional.
You're overthinking
videos.
it. Sorry, Leroy.
Let's see.
You're overthinking it. He's overthinking comedy. That's the problem. You know? And well thought out jokes are great. They're great, right? But like sometimes when you're just having banter with your friends, you don't have to overthink it too much. Yes, obviously you don't want to say something offensive or horrible, but like he's overthinking it. And I think what's like that there as well, like that's like the biggest issue he has. The funniest things that, like, when people point out stuff that I say that they think is funny in my videos, and I don't think I'm funny, right? I wouldn't call myself funny. But when people point out stuff, they go, oh my God, this is so funny that Calvin said. I usually click on it. I'm like, that was just off the top of my head and someone found it funny. And that's, and you know, when you have your friend or like a family member says something that like the jokes that you remember that a family member said is not like usually the knock jokes. It's not usually the jokes that are puns. It's usually the jokes that are like randomly like, like just randomly out of nowhere. And you're like, oh my God. And you remember when you said this last Christmas and all stuff like that too? Like you remember that stuff. And it breaks my heart for the narrator here because like it was unintentional that we pulled out the phone there because I just wanted to get an ending, of course, right? But to him, we just didn't get that he was pretending to be the bucket, right? And again, the first time around, I kind of like thought like, is this kind of like him interpreting the bucket? I didn't really know. But it's kind of like, again, sad that like he saw it as us kind of like, I don't want to say look like, I don't want to say look like just, no, it was us like not receiving his joke very well. And I think as well, this is how you know he's a very self-conscious character, is that not only was he very upset when people, he did so much to change stuff when his game was ridiculed, right? When he got those bad reviews. Not only did that happen, but there was also to me like the idea of the collectibles. He sees the players as like clamoring to like, I want more stuff, and that hurts him as well. Us not doing the jump down the into the pit thing, right? Remember the never-ending hole? We didn't do that. We figured it out, and we let it ourselves drop all the way down to again. Again, he was embarrassed. There's an embarrassment. There's a self-consciousness about his decisions and his creations and what he's creating, his stories. I think even earlier on when I thought he was being conniving and evil to us, I think him being like very sarcastic about like, oh, you don't get to have fun anymore, was again coming from a place of hurt. I think he's a very hurt character. I think he's a character who gets hurt very easily. I think he's a character who gets embarrassed very easily. I think he's a character who gets very self-conscious very easily. And because Stanley doesn't talk, all he has is kind of like a backboard to kind of like throw this off of. And when Stanley has his actions that go against something that the narrator wants or something the narrator is like trying to portray, we have this situation where the narrator again gets kind of like self-conscious and like gets a little bit hurt, gets a little bit even the stuff like when we jumped off the, like, you know, when we went on the what you call the thing, the platform that transfer you, the elevated platform. The first thing he says is like, you're thinking about only yourself and you have to think about other people too. He genuinely seems hurt. He genuinely seems like, why wouldn't you think about me in this situation? I'm also here, you know? And with this joke here, he's thinking too far into this, just like he did with the game reviews, just like he did with the stuff of trying to like please everybody. He's really doing this so he can get Stanley to laugh so that then he can feel good that he did something good. When again, the reality of the situation is like, Stanley clearly is just like not the true like companion that they need, just like the narrator is not what the Stanley is. They need each other in a different way, but I think like, you know, what they healthily need is to be free. You know what I mean? To actually like experience this stuff. And like the whole thing with like trying to learn comedy from a comedy teacher. I totally get people doing that. I totally get those improv classes, but that's different. That's also releasing your inhibitions and being yourself and like, you know, thinking of stuff that you find funny too. But again, the funniest jokes usually come from just like off the cuff things that people say. And there's, of course, there is well thought out jokes, but I'm talking about the jokes like between friends. But yeah, to me, it is once again another example of the narrator feeling sad that Stanley didn't get his jokes. He's being defensive over his jokes. He's trying his best to make us laugh in the end with all those puns. To the point that he even like got upset himself because because Stanley didn't laugh again. He went off and did a different joke, which didn't even have anything to do with our obsession with the bucket. You know, oh, you're pale, or the bucket plays metal. That's a joke that doesn't even make sense within the context of like the story that he's trying to tell. So then he's desperately trying to make us laugh as well because at that one time we didn't laugh. Just like when someone didn't like his game, he tries to change it eternally. Just like when you know, people want those, you know, the players want more collectibles. He's implementing them, but in a way that like is like so obsessive as well. He's obsessively trying to please people. I think he's like the ultimate people pleaser in the weirdest way possible. And he gets hurt to the point that he will lash out sometimes if he's not able to please people. He's a people pleaser who isn't able to understand his feelings of why he's hurt when he doesn't please someone. Does that make sense? Yeah, that's the way I look at it here as well. And also interesting that the original ending was him like crying at Stanley for him to get back up, because again, he wants Stanley to continue his story. He wants a companion like Stanley. Whereas I also think that this ending kind of changed because Stanley is still lifeless and not moving and not doing anything, but the narrator is just like now able to infinitely throw jokes at Stanley, you know? Sorry, that's like such an interesting ending to me as well. Like, once again.
All of his co-workers were gone.
Oh, check the computers just in case.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
I think it's going to be along the way, right? It has to be along the way. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go to the museum ending, I think.
It takes a lot of humility to carry a bucket so magnificent.
Thank you.
Stanley checked his ego and then proceeded onward.
Yeah, I think it's a very very talented writing staff for me. I'm not saying that like, oh, I like my interpretation makes it a great game, but I'm saying that in terms of like my change of perception about the narrator. You guys know when I started off this game, I think I started off being like the narrator is evil. Then I was like the narrator is like really snarky and like mean, and then I turned into like, is the narrator actually hurt by us? Is the narrator actually feeling sad, but he's still kind of being a bit mean to us? Is the narrator doing this? Is the narrator doing that? And then, like, we got to a point now where, like, I am, like, unbelievably sympathetic and, like, kind of, like... I don't mean this in an insulting way. I hope it doesn't sound like it. There's a pity. There's a pity there where it's like, oh, man, I feel kind of bad for him, you know? I feel kind of bad for him.
Stanley took the door on his left to go back, and so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
Did we? This is the museum one, right?
Oh, good, Stanley. I'm glad you found your way here. I knew you'd find this place.
Oh, this time he's saying he wants us to find it? What the hell? We care about you, Stanley. What the hell is this? And there's the yellow line.
You see, your friends and I are concerned
and the
for you,
baby's
Stanley.
here.
We've come together here because we care about you very much.
We are friends and the baby, a mannequin, and the yellow line, and the computer.
It's this bucket.
That is so funny. That is very funny.
You're carrying around everywhere. The bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content. We're the ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom Closet. Because that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite
and the Broom
jokes.
Closet's our friend too, and he's saying that like we're relying too much on the new stuff. You should love the old stuff again. Why are you neglecting us?
Not this bucket that they've never seen before. Yes, I know I'm the one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it. Don't you want another story involving the Adventure Line? We could make the Adventure Line go somewhere new. Yes, yes, that's what the fans want. Let's do it.
This is an Adventure Line ending? Wait, what if they make us go into... Oh, no, we shouldn't we? Well, we can do this again. We can do this twice. Let's go into the Broom Closet next time. I want to follow the Adventure Line.
Whee! Look at that wacky line. Who knows where it'll go off to next?
This is why I think he's a very self-conscious character. I think he's like, man, he's paying too much attention to the bucket, not like my original creations. Even though I gave him the bucket, now I'm feeling self-conscious about my original creations. Look, Stanley, we can do the yellow line again, right? We can make things like the way they were before.
Oh, and it played some silly music as well.
Yeah, there's the adventurous music once again. Raw Acids, the only man. This adventurous music once again.
Now this is what the Stanley Parable is all about. Don't you remember all those great jokes from the original dialogue? Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers. Yes, it's as classic now as it was back then. Let's do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this.
This is a not fully created room.
But if we want to do that, you're going to have to give something up.
The bucket. Oh, is this going to be an ending where he's going to try and get us to give out the bucket? Because I think it is so interesting that he did give us the bucket, but now he's like kind of like, you know, I'm not getting as much attention as the bucket anymore. My old creations are no longer important. That might probably makes him feel self-conscious too. Does he actually want us to give out the bucket? Let's follow this line. Oh my god, that's a spooky way down. Again, in horror game logic, I'm doing this. You know what I mean? Whoa. This gives off a very cold and damp environment. It feels... Whoa. Ominous red light.
We need to get rid of the bucket. That's why I'm very proud to introduce a brand new character. This is the Bucket
And he sees all his
Destroyer.
creations as characters? Oh no.
I think it'll make a wonderful new addition to the rich lore of the Stanley
think
Parable.
so?
True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along.
Oh, we love characters like that, right? The Bucket Destroyer being a character.
Can you guess what the Bucket Destroyer does? Surely you don't need me to spell it
I'm
out
guessing
for
destroys
you.
a bucket.
Go ahead now, Stanley. Say goodbye to the bucket, and then pop it into the machine when you're ready.
And again, it's like you know, he treats like all these like creations as characters of themselves. Like, oh, the classic broom closet, the classic, the baby, the pencil sharpener, all this stuff is all the computer, right? These are all characters that love you. And it was like almost like an intervention that we had there as well for the bucket. And now like it's almost like trading with from his perspective, maybe like trading with a child, where it's like, okay, how about instead of the bucket, we have the Bucket Destroyer? Isn't that a cool character? So can we like avoid this and go this way? I feel like there's gonna be a multiple.
Now listen to me. It's crucial that you give it the bucket. I don't know what the Bucket Destroyer will do if it can't destroy
Wait, it's
your
gonna feel
bucket.
bad about itself?
Destroying buckets is all it knows. That is its singular personality trait. Sure, I can hear you saying, how does a character
no.
with only one personality trait deserve to join the pantheon of beloved Stanley Parable characters? Well, you see, if you were to really explore
go deeper into the character.
Destroyer, you would see that its desire to crush buckets is so densely loaded with complexity and nuance that it's really like 10 personality traits. What other object in this game can you even say that about? The broom closet? Certainly not. I wonder
He's
what
trying to
sort
sell
of
his new
Bucket
idea as
Destroyer
well.
merchandise the fans will be clamoring for after this. Okay, the Bucket Destroyer is getting very upset now. You'll have to hurry and feed it. We can't get back to the classic Stanley Parable characters like the Adventure
Oh my God,
Line
it's
or the
actually
Bucket
violently
Destroyer until you crush that damn bucket. Quickly now, the fans are waiting.
Oh
Do
my
it,
God,
the
what is
fans,
this what's gonna
Stanley.
happen?
Give the fans what they want. Hurry and...
Is that us dead? Is that us gone? What are you doing, Stanley Parable?
The Bucket Destroyer, my prized creation. You had
This
so much
heavenly angelic
potential.
music.
We were going to do such marvelous things with you, tell such spellbinding stories about you. All of it squandered now. Goodbye, new friend.
He's genuinely upset.
For the moment in time that you were here, you were magnificent.
Like, look, it's almost like this depressive feeling he has over losing this new character. And you could say it's a care for all the elements in his story that he genuinely loves. Wait, is that going to restart the ending again? I thought that was the museum ending. Maybe I'm thinking of it wrong. What was the museum ending? I'm going to have to figure that out again. I thought that was the museum ending, but it's been so long. But yeah, it's interesting to me that like he treats these like this new object as like so important to the story because again, I wonder if it is because we were neglecting the other parts of his older characters that like he wants to like feel like maybe like, you know, I introduced this book into the game, but now it's taking over the whole entire game and you're not interacting with the stuff as you used to do. Now it feels like all the stuff's getting neglected. If I create something new that showcases that I still have the ability to create like new characters and new ideas and new things in the game that will make things like super interesting. We're going to go back there again and actually once again turn on the volume and we'll chat to you as we're going along the way as well.
Stanley had never seen the office this brightly lit. Was it a sign of something? He hoped
Wait,
it
what?
was. He hoped very much that it was.
Wait, is the office brighter than it usually is? Does that mean something's changed? Possibly? It could just be like an extra piece of dialogue that changes because they do change the dialogue sometimes as well.
Stanley cradled the
Maybe?
bucket
I don't know.
in a gentle embrace, protective yet delicate, assertive yet compassionate.
But I was gonna say, yeah, like I do think again, I'm starting to buy into like the narrator being
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly
so
to his
self-conscious and all this stuff.
This was not the
So
correct way
self-conscious
to
at the
meet
idea
him.
of just like
Stanley had felt the bucket
you know, he's
calling
creating
to
his
him,
story, creating his
telling him
characters,
that
you
the
know,
employee
impressing Stanley,
lounge
making
was
Stanley
simply the
laugh,
place to
impressing the
be.
people who are playing this game. You know, I think they have a very like, and there's nothing wrong with being a little bit sensitive, 100%. You know,
And here it was.
um,
Had the bucket turned out to be
but I think that's
correct,
what we're
was
getting
this
at here with
better
this.
than
I
the
think it
learned?
genuinely is like
Never mind.
a
The bucket was wrong.
kind of a very
Stanley took the
sad
door on his left to go back
outlook
to
they
the
have on life where like they're trying to impress people all the time, and at least in my opinion. And in this case, like I think it was like the creation of the Bucket Destroyer was a way to kind of make him feel like I can still do this. I can still create something that's great. I can still create something that you want to interact with, that you want to be around, right? Which I think is like a really cool idea for his character too. Again, especially as a character that like.
Oh, good Stanley, I'm glad you found your way here.
This is so funny, his intervention as well. Especially as a character that wants to create, that wants to interact with Stanley, that wants Stanley to interact with his own creations as well, or at least what he perceives to be his own creations.
This bucket you're carrying around everywhere. The bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just.
And some people said in the comments as well, like the idea of the bucket being like this controlling force around Stanley. You know, it's already been a thing we've seen in other endings too, where like the narrator feels like he's almost separate from that as well. And the relationship, it's almost like a wedge, in my opinion, between the narrator and Stanley sometimes.
We're the ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the
Which one was
Adventure
this?
Line and the Broom Closet. Because that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes, not this bucket that they've never seen before. Yes, I know I'm the one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it. Don't you want another story involving the Adventure Line? We could make the Adventure Line.
So I want to try going here.
Yes, yes, that's what the fans want. Let's do it.
Oh, it's nothing. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's try and destroy the bucket then. So I guess that's just like there as like as a problem, because again, it's not a part of the story. He just wants to use it as like a friend of ours.
Who knows where it'll go off to next? Oh, and it played some silly music as well.
So we're destroying the bucket this time, which means we might have to reset again after this.
Now this is what the Stanley Parable is all about. Don't you remember all those great jokes from the original dialogue? Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs.
Jesus Christ.
Yes, it's as classic now as it was back then. Let's do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this. But if we want to do that, you're going to have to give something up.
It does feel like someone who's like reaching out to someone who has an addiction, right? And it's almost, and honestly, the way they've described the bucket, like other characters, like that guy who destroyed, who talked about Gammaroth, and the
Don't you get
bucket,
Stanley?
really felt like it was like an addiction.
I think it'll make a wonderful new addition to the rich lore of the Stanley Parable. True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me, it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree?
Sure.
Can you guess what the Bucket Destroyer does? Surely you don't need me to spell it out for you.
Oh my
Go
god.
ahead now, Stanley. Say goodbye to the bucket, and then pop it into the machine
Wait.
when you're ready.
It's not letting me destroy it. Is the bucket
Now
looking
listen
towards
to
us?
me. It's
Wait,
crucial
was this
that you
always
get it
supposed to be the
bucket.
ending?
I don't
Interesting.
know what the Bucket Destroyer
Because I'm
will
clicking
do
on
if it
everything.
can't destroy your bucket. Destroying buckets is all it knows.
That's
That
so
is its
crazy. So you
singular
wouldn't have been able to destroy the bucket
personality
after all?
Sure, I can hear you saying, how does a character with only one
No
personality
way.
deserve to join the pantheon of beloved
That's
Stanley
actually more
Parable
interesting than actually like
Well, you
I
see,
thought it was
if
going to
you
be.
were
Maybe I'm wrong
really
here, but I'm trying to
explore
click on it,
the
but like every time we try to
Destroyer,
click on
you'll
it,
see that its desire
he
to
looks at
crush
the bucket.
buckets is so densely loaded with complexity and nuance that it's
Stop.
really like 10
This is
personality
crazy.
traits. What other object in this game can you even say that about? The broom closet? Certainly not. I wonder what sort of Bucket Destroyer merchandise the fans will be clamoring for after
Oh
this.
my god.
Okay, the Bucket Destroyer.
You see what he
is
does? He
getting
keeps
very
looking at the
upset
bucket.
Now you'll have to hurry and feed it. We can't get back to the classic Stanley Parable characters like the Adventure Line or the Bucket Destroyer until you crush that damn bucket. Quickly
Yeah,
now.
we're gonna be
The
right in front of the
fans are waiting.
explosion as
Do it,
well.
The fans, Stanley. Give the fans what they want. Hurry and.
That's crazy. Now I might be wrong. Maybe there is a way to destroy the bucket there, but it's very clear to me that like the bucket didn't want to be destroyed, or we didn't want to destroy the bucket at the very least.
The Bucket Destroyer, my prized creation. You had so much potential. We were going to do such marvelous things with you, tell such spellbinding stories about you. All of it squandered now. Goodbye, new friend. For the moment in time that you were here, you were magnificent.
So crazy. He like almost was like embracing the bucket again. He'd look at the bucket and kind of like, you know, only hold it closer almost as well as he was doing this. What a wild choice. Because here's the thing, I thought we were going to like destroy the bucket and like see something new there. But what's actually like really special to me about that is that it showcases how dependent Stanley has become with the bucket, right? And how what the bucket has like as a power over Stanley as well. It's so interesting to me that like like once again they're showcasing how like dependent people come on this book. And we've heard that tape before, how someone became addicted to the book. We heard Mariella also was like, well, I have my bucket and I'm happy. The bucket is something that I think from the narrator's perspective is just like a plot, like this kind of like interesting thing to add to a game. But I don't think he had the actual final choice on adding this to the game as he think he did. Or at least he maybe did, and then someone already infected the bucket with something else, so the bucket has some other like elements to it as well. Because for some reason, even with like the narrator saying like, please do this for the fans, please do this, you know, and it'll be much more interesting. We went up to the machine, we're about to pop it in there, and instead of popping it in there, our first instinct was to go, no. And almost like hold it closer to us. We were looking at it kind of like, no, we're not doing this. The story with the bucket is so surprising to me. Like how they were able to go, like the bucket was able to be like, just at first I was like, oh, this is just a bucket, right? This is just a funny thing to add to the game. Not only does it change everything mechanically, but it changes like the relationship that we have with the narrator, as I saw in this part as well. The narrator, I think, in the first route, it took a while, but I feel like after a while, we definitely did like feel like the narrator and I were like in this together in a way. That we were kind of like, it was almost like this expecting thing where it's like, it's so fun to be around the narrator, hear what the narrator has to say. But now with the bucket, for me personally, it feels like there is a wedge, like almost like a middleman between us and the narrator. Whereas if we don't have the bucket with us, the narrator has his own story, has his own different situation. But if we do have the bucket with us, the narrator's story changes, and not only does his story change, we also have a situation where like everything has to revolve around the bucket. Everything has to. Oh, you have the bucket. Just jump off. You have the bucket, so do this. Oh, it's okay. You have the bucket. Don't worry about it. Oh, the bucket helped you. The bucket saved you. The bucket did this. I want the bucket. Everything is about the bucket. And it really does feel like, we saw that before with the other ending where we were falling in love with the bucket, quote unquote. How like the narrator was so upset at the idea of us like, listening to the bucket and not him, to the point that he was like, well, maybe this bucket actually is amazing. I want the bucket. And when I say it puts a wedge between us, I think that like it's like a middleman. The narrator loves talking to Stanley. The narrator loves talking at Stanley sometimes. The narrator loves, giving Stanley a story. And the narrator even loves sometimes when Stanley like goes off the beaten path sometimes. But now that the bucket's involved, there's like a feeling of like, as I said, change. Like things feel like there's a change. And I do feel like there's a wedge between us and the narrator sometimes. Because even like when we get an ending with the bucket, it's all centered around the bucket, right? It's all centered around the bucket. And I think it's such an interesting like thing that they did here as well. At least that's my opinion on it. And again, I know it's like a really weird like conversation to have. Because I obviously like it's like jealousy, as I said, can be taught. And I don't think it's just jealousy with it. I think it's also actually concern and sadness, and it's a self-conscious feeling that the narrator had as well. But I think it's actually like really like, I feel bad for the narrator. I feel bad for the narrator that like his story's kind of been hijacked by an element that he thought would be so cool, but is in actuality changed his whole fun that he's having. He's no longer having as much fun sometimes because of the bucket, at least in this case as well. And we saw that with like, there's another element there where like, again, there's another pitiful aspect as well with the joke. The fact that like we joked, like he pretended to be the bucket. He made a joke with the bucket and he's like, you didn't get my joke, Stanley? What the hell? And he was hurt by that because it's like, am I not funny? And he tried to do these like tutorials. And it kind of reminds me once again of like the game reviews, as I said, like the fact that he got bad with game reviews and he tried to change the game entirely to the point that he like nearly lost our existence, his voice, we went centuries into the future, all this stuff as well. Like he desperately, the stuff with the collectibles, the stuff with the new additions to the game. The bucket was a thing that was a response to people not liking his game. He has this self-conscious aspect that like, I think Stanley gave him, at least when Stanley was doing his story, I think Stanley gave him this purpose that made him feel needed / wanted / heard. And now that the bucket's here, everything has to center on the bucket. And just like with the jokes, like he's like, he there, it's like, oh, I'm so hurt that someone doesn't get my joke. I'm hurt that someone doesn't get my game. Like I'm hurt that Stanley might not listen to me, all this stuff as well. But even now, he can't even get upset sometimes because, like, we go off the beaten path. He goes, the bucket told him to go here, and the bucket said this, and the bucket did that, and the bucket did this. He can't even, like, do the things where, like, he would mess with us before because it's like, oh, the bucket must have told you to go here. The bucket must have told you to do that. And then whenever we don't, whenever we do, he does get to, like, interact and be like, wait, why would you do that? It goes back to being, like, a ending where it's kind of self-deprecating in a way. I don't know. That's the way I look at it anyway. It's, because he was even heard early the idea that he would come up with a story that is like the one we saw with like the everything was not real. Because again, he loves the experiences that he's had with Stanley. I genuinely think he's like, as I said, Stanley gives him purpose. I think Stanley gives him purpose. I hope I didn't go too deep into that as well, because like I just think that like now I'm like feeling really bad for the narrator. I feel really bad for him. I think he's a character that like is hurt. He's a hurt character. I think he's genuinely hurt. And I think it's like as I said, the bucket feels like that friend that's been added to the group that like the one friend doesn't really like, but the other friend really does kind of like, and they can't really get along with that friend, and it changed everything in the friend group. That's what it feels like. But yeah, that's my thought process on what happened in this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you guys for supporting me and this series. It's been awesome always conversing with you guys. And I'm going to say that the next episode will be coming out Friday. And I don't know how many episodes we have left, but I'm glad that we got to go along with this journey anyway. There's also an epilogue we can try it at some time too, but there's still other endings I want to try and get as well. I want to say thank you to Tyfire2, Jamie Bull, Johnny the Banana, The Ghost of Inazuma, Felicitas Felix, Yule, Radish Anusta, Lynx Markey, Assassin, True Peanut Butter, Peter Shelson, Leon, High Casperia, Jerobeanum, and at the highest tier of my YouTube, Roar Gimme 7, Blasco, and Nosnagi. See you soon, guys. Bye bye.